Today I'm going to make a transition to go into here, and the tile is slightly higher than the laminate flooring, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal here. I'm going to use some rough sawn oak that I have and make this piece up. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is the oak I'm going to use for my transition. I have one piece here. I just cut it down to 32 inches, and I'm going to run these through the planer one side, get it cleaned up so that I can get them glued together. I need like 1 1/8 inch or something like that, 1 1/4 inch total when I'm finished, so I can't get it with just one piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them together and then start to make my piece out of that. I have my measurements right here. So for what I'm doing right now, I know I have plenty of length and I know I have plenty of thickness. This is kind of sort of my profile all drawn up here, and once I get this all done and I get them to the correct width, which we'll do tomorrow after the glue dries, then we'll be all set to go ahead and get this drawn on the edges of them and start cutting it and running it through the table saw and getting the exact shapes that we want here. So let's get these through the planer and get them glued together. Have both of these sides planed out, and we are ready to get some glue on here and glue them together. So I'm not, like I say, I'm not looking for perfection on this particular planing. I just want to make sure that these are nice and smooth and ready to be glued up. There's a little wobble in one of them. I'm just going to clamp it out and let the glue dry it there. Then if there's any wobble left in it when I'm finished, then I will go ahead and plane that wobble out of it. Then I'll get it on the sled and get it all flattened out real nice. I don't have a roller for this, which kind of stinks, so we're just gonna glue it up real nice here. Spread it out with my fingers. Try and keep it nice and fairly heavy. If I need to add more, I will. Alright, I'm liking what we got there. So in the dry spots here, just going to go around the edges with a little light bit more. And we are going to clamp it. Let it sit there for a second, get a little bit of a bite. Alright, I'm liking what we got there. So in the dry spots here, just going to go around the edges with a little light bit more. And we are going to clamp it. So let it sit there for a second, get a little bit of a bite. just going to clamp away. Alright, I'm going to call that good. We're going to let this set up overnight. Come back tomorrow, joint our edges, get things cleaned up a little bit, and get this ready to go. The glue is dried overnight. I'm ready to get these clamps off and start getting this thing cut into shape. Alright, there we have it. Let's get the table saw out and get these edges cut off and get this cut down to the thickness that we need, or the width that we need, of 3.5 inches. I have my bow fence extender set up on my table saw just to kind of help me keep everything straight as I go through. It's not like I'm trying to joint this, but I do want the straightest edge possible. So I've got it set just to take about a blade width off, and we're ready to go. Let's get this cut off. Pretty happy with that. I've got from pushing it through, so what I want to do is just barely graze the side of this again, this same side, and get these little saw marks out where it wiggled around a little bit in the saw. Some of this might not be helping me. Maybe I will go ahead and trim this side down first, I think. So I'm just going to move it over a little bit so that we can do the same thing, just barely graze this side of the workpiece. And we can pass it through a couple times if need be. I like that. Yep, we got a much better edge over here, so we are good. I'm just going to check my cut for square real quick. Just make sure we're looking good. And we are. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now I want to do the same thing, just bump it over a little bit and graze this side off, and then we will take it to the final width of, I think, 3.5. I don't know if you saw that or not, but some of this cut and some of it didn't. This side looks really nice against the fence, except for like right here. And we're a little low through here, so I want to go ahead and just take a little bit off of this side again. I'm thinking this is now a good side to work with, even though it's got a little discrepancy in it. Alright, let's run it through one more time. Okay, I like that. We got a nice cut all the way across. We're nice and smooth. And we're sitting against the fence very nicely. So I'm going to use this side, and we're going to just go ahead and take this down to the 3.5 inches, I believe. That's the finished product. Alright, there we have it. We'll check it with our tape measure. I'm going to take out the miter saw and just clean these ends off so that I can more easily draw the profile on here that I want to draw on there. Okay, now that I'm at my final width, I've got the ends trimmed off. What I need to do now is take it down to the final thickness, which is 1 1/8, or right in that neighborhood. So I'm just going to run it through the planer multiple passes until I get it down to that thickness. It's going to take a few minutes. I have about, I don't know, a little less than 1/2 inch to remove. So it shouldn't be too awful horrible, but I'm not going to have you watch every second of it. We're going to start right there, run it through, and start cleaning it up. I'm going to keep going. We got a little low spot right here. I'm going to keep going and get this thing cleaned up. I have this to my final thickness, and I've got a dado stack in my table saw. And what I need to do is remove 5/8 inch from one side and 7/8 inch from the other side. So my tile is 7/8 inch up, and my engineered wood flooring is 5/8 inch up. So we're going to remove that 5/8 first, and then we're going to come over and get the 7/8. I believe I can do this in one swing, so we're going to go ahead and give it a shot here. I've got it set at 5/8, and we are ready to go. Okay, so there we have it, no problems. Now I need to come over to this line, so I need to slide my fence over a little bit. And yes, I am using a sacrificial fence so that the blade works that over and not my my aluminum fence. Pretty happy with that right there. Let's run her through. So now we've come right up to our line. Now we need to do this side. And this side we need to remove 7/8 of an inch. So we got to raise these dados up just a little bit. I do not have a 7/8 block, setup block, so we are going to go with a 1/2 inch and 1/4. No, we need 7/8, not 3/4. So we have a 3/8 here. Just under 7/8. Okay, we have 7/8. Okay, I'm happy with that. Make sure that we are coming through on our line. Obviously it's on the wrong end, but yep, that looks good. Alright, let's run this through. Now we just need to bump the fence over and get the other little piece off. All right. So there we have it, our transition is done, but now what I want to do is just take away a little bit of material from this side. So I'll put my blade back in my table saw, we'll set it at an angle and remove just a little bit of this. Then we'll take the router and we'll soften these corners up. I've got my saw set at a 7-degree angle, and what I want to do is cut on this side of this line, so I want to leave the line. Even if I leave a little extra, I'm okay with that. And I've got my fence set up, and we are ready to go. Oh, you saw that mistake right there. I didn't realize that it would fit through at the final cut. So we've got a few saw marks on here, no big deal. We'll sand all that out. But now you can kind of see the profile that I'm going for. So I'm going to get out the sander and clean this all up. And then we'll get the router out and put a little roundovers on these. And it'll almost be ready to install. We have to cut it to final length. So I've got a rough sand on it. I haven't finished sanded it yet. I just went in with my profile gauge and I took a profile of the door opening because I need to notch out for the door stop, or the piece of trim that's the door stop. And I've marked it on here, so I'm going to go ahead and get this cut, get my final measurement and do the same thing on the other end, get it cut, and then I'll go in for a test fit before I go ahead and finish everything up. So let's get that cut out. Okay, I'm going to get the final measurement, mark it, and get the other side cut just the same. Now that I have both ends trimmed, I've test fitted, it fits well. I'm going to go ahead and get my profiles cut on these edges. I've got my router bit in the router table, just a round over. I like what I've got going on here, so we are going to get these roundovers on. Now I'm going to use the fence. I don't need to for this thicker side, but for this thinner side I do, because the bearing won't ride on it. So I need to use the fence for that, and I am pretty happy with how it's going to ride through. I'm pretty sure I can control it well. So let's get these profiles cut. like that. Now we're going to just go ahead and get our sandpaper out and give this thing a final sand, and then we'll be ready for some stain. I have some 120 in my sander, and then we're going to move over to 220. When I took it in to test fit it, this bottom rib that fits down and sits on the original flooring was slightly too tall on one end, and so I took some 60 grit and I just removed some material from it. What I don't want is for it to be solely resting on this, so that when somebody steps here it could potentially snap this off. So I want to make sure that it's sitting in there nice across both floor surfaces and the original floor surface that it's going to be sitting on. And I would like to have just a little bit of room for some construction adhesive, and then probably like 3 pin nails is what I'm going to do to hold it down. So I have my 120 in here, and we're just going to get this thing sanded down, get any of these funny little edges that the router bit made, and get it all cleaned up. Alright, with that finished, we'll hit it with some 220, and then we will be ready to figure out our stain color and get this thing stained. I'm really happy with it. I mean, in all realities, it looks like anything that you would buy at the store. The profiles are good, everything's good. It's just got a custom fit. Alright, I really like this, so I am going to go give it a test fit and make sure that I've removed enough from this bottom rib. And if I haven't, I'm going to remove a little more. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the stain on it, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's installed, or we'll install it on the video here. We'll install it, so I'll show you. It's pretty easy to put it in, and we'll get it all installed. I did a couple of sample finishes on some scraps for my wife to have a look at the colors, and we went with the weathered oak. I've got it stained. I've got 2 coats of semi-gloss polyurethane on it, and it is ready to install. So let's go get this thing installed. Alright guys, trying to get you a halfway decent view here. Here is the transition. Let's get it set into place. There we go. Now we'll take a closer look once we get it all installed, and I'll show you. I'm not going to use a ton of construction adhesive. I'm going to use Loctite PL 375 heavy duty, and we're just going to put about 3 smaller beads of it in there. So I'll get it in, and then I'll show you exactly how much is going in there, because I don't think there's a very good angle for you guys going on. So get this end cut off. There we have it. Probably just gonna put 4 nice little beads here. There we have it. Let's take a closer look. So that is exactly what I'm putting in for the Loctite to get this thing locked into place. And I'm going to put 2 And I'm going to put two 2-inch pin nails also on the outside edges. I know I'm moving you around a little bit. Alright, let's get this set back in there. I feel the construction adhesive moving around. I'm just going to lift it back up. Oh, it's not going to let me. It grabbed a hold already. Alright, there we have it. Now I'm just going to drop in 2 pin nails right through the transition itself. There we have it. Just that simple, it's installed. Let's take a closer look. That is a semi-gloss polyurethane that I put on there. It's still slightly sticky, and yes, as you can see, not everything is fully painted yet from the bathroom remodel. The bathroom is, but the outside here I just finished up a couple weeks ago. I had a lot of work to do on this wall and get the new trim on and get everything tightened up, so I had to redo this corner. Just a lot of work that was done in here. But anyway, that is the final piece. I need to get a little bit of almond caulking and put around the flooring right there, and then we'll be good. That's all we got for this time. If you enjoyed yourself, click on one of those 2 videos that are going to pop up next to me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider doing so. And remember to always respect the power of your power tools. We'll see you soon.